Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Ty with Higher Power Pressure Wash, based out of Atlanta, Georgia. I want to try to keep this video real brief. Actually, I had made one before. To me, it was going a little too long, but I just wanted to go on and talk about, there's always questions for new guys who start off and asking, can they clean with a 4 gallon a minute, or do they need a 4 gallon a minute, do they need an 8 gallon a minute, so on and so forth. I actually started off with a 4 gallon a minute. I had a 4 gallon a minute for about maybe, I think, a little bit under 2 years, but at the time I still had a 9 to 5, so I was only doing work maybe 2 or 3 days a week. And if that's the scope of your work, that's a 4 gallon a minute is fine. If you got one house for the day, one driveway for the day, you know, something along those lines, or you booking all your work over the weekends, working Monday through Fridays, and you booking your work on the weekends, a 4 gallon a minute is fine. There's just certain things that there's certain problems you're gonna run into with a 4 gallon a minute that there's nothing you could do about it. There might be some tips and tricks you can use to help you get ahead or get over on that, but ultimately there's certain things the 4 gallon a minute just can't handle. This weekend, I actually had to rent a I didn't want to rent a 4 gallon a minute. I got duped into thinking I was renting a 7 gallon. And when I got there, the guy said, oh, it's actually a 4. And I was jammed because I was booked for the weekend. So I had 3 driveways on a Saturday and 3 houses on a Sunday. And I had no choice but to use a 4 gallon a minute because there's some parts on my trailer that I needed to order and it didn't get here on time. Nevertheless, I want to say that it was a very long weekend with that 4 gallon a minute. A very long weekend. I had some really dirty houses and some really dirty driveways. On my personal trailer, I'm running a 5.5 gallon a minute. And I'm not going to talk about time and how long it takes, because to each their own, everybody's different. You know, some guys, a house take them 2 or 3 hours. I know some guys personally, they could do a 3,000 square foot home in 45 minutes, flat, and that's pack up and leave. I'm not going to get into how they do it, or what their process is. I'm not going to get into my process and how long houses take me. But what I am going to say is that if you do have a 4 gallon a minute, you can make money with it. You can start a pressure washing business with the 4 gallon a minute, but you have to do a lot of research on little tips and tricks to help you do all sizes of houses. I'm in Georgia, so we got a lot of hills. A lot of our houses, they're flat in the front, but when you go in the back, they just drop down like a goddamn amusement park. They just drop down, and you couldn't tell from the front because it looks normal, but then when you walk around the side of the house, it's just a straight drop down. So sometimes 2-story houses might become 3, even 4. I've even done close to a 5-story house. That's how far it dropped down, and that's how high the height. Matter of fact, I think I have a picture of it or a video of it. I mean, it's just, some of these houses are just ridiculous. Now, with the 4 gallon a minute, you're gonna have a problem reaching those. So in that particular case, what you're gonna need to do is you're gonna need some extension wands, as many as you can afford, and as long as you can afford. You're gonna need some shooter tips. I'm not recommending any names or any brands or any websites or any vendors. I'm not recommending that. Do your research, find your own. But you're gonna need some shooter tips. You're gonna need some extension wands. I think the longest might be 12. The last I looked, I don't know. I don't use extension wands. I think there was a 12. I think there was a 16-inch at one time. I'm not sure. XJet. Definitely invest in an XJet. Definitely to forget the back and forth of should you downstream or should you XJet. If you got a 4 gallon a minute, XJet as much as you can. Look up videos on how to customize the XJet so it's not as bulky and it's not as troublesome carrying around the bucket and different ways. I might do a video on my XJet setup. I love it. I love the XJet, even though I downstream most of the time. But there's times I might come up to a house that's dirty and filthy, that ain't been cleaned in 20, 30 years. I don't have time to be there forever. I got 3 more, 4 more houses for the day. I slap that XJet on and once again, I'm knocking it out pretty quick. Concrete cleaning, 4 gallon a minute. I would say go as small as you can with the surface cleaner, not one of those surface cleaners that's attached with the little gun. We don't use that. That's not professional grade equipment. We go with Whisper Wash and I don't even know what else there is. All I know is Whisper. Mossmatic. I started off with a Mossmatic with the wheels. Mossmatic, Whisper Wash. That's all I know. I would suggest going with Whisper Wash, 19-inch. But learn chemicals. Learn how to use your chemicals. Learn how to pre-treat and post-treat. With the 3 driveways that I had on Saturday, that 4 gallon a minute didn't even budge them. It didn't even do anything for them. When I first came and just used straight water, it didn't do nothing to the driveways at all. I had to turn the machine off, stop, regroup, and then I end up having to pre-treat and post-treat the driveways. And that did wonders. It did miracles. You wouldn't even have known I had a 4 gallon a minute. You would have thought, and I'm talking some really long driveways. We're not talking 4-car driveways. We're talking really long driveways I did with a 4 gallon a minute. The main and major thing that you're gonna have a problem with the 4 gallon a minute is time. Is time. You know, don't book too many in a day. You know, you're probably gonna need to book, if you got a big driveway, you might as well just go ahead and book just that driveway for the day. You got a large house, you might as well just book that house for the day, because it's gonna run you a couple of hours with that 4 gallon a minute. Now, if you got a normal sized driveway, normal sized house, you might do 2 a day. 2 driveways a day, 2 houses a day, something like that. But nevertheless, the purpose of this video is just to say, yes, you can start a pressure washing business with a 4 gallon a minute. Just don't overwhelm or overburden yourself. There's some guys who, I know some guys who just, they keep 4 gallon a minute. They don't even upgrade their equipment, and they have the money too. They don't upgrade their equipment. They just keep it 4 gallon a minute. They keep it basic. I know a couple of guys personally that soap houses with a 4 gallon a minute and rinse with the 8 gallon a minute. They like that flow of the 4 gallon a minute. I don't know how they do it, but I couldn't do it. It seemed like it took forever to soap a big house. I mean, forever. It's like I was watching paint dry, just watching it going back and forth to soap. And I was pissed off. So yeah, you could definitely start a business with a 4 gallon a minute. Just learn everything about chemicals. Buy as much accessories as you can. Buy as much X-Jeps and shooter tips and extension wands, and buy all the chemicals you can afford on the market. EBC, shout out to my man Carlos. You know what I mean? We gonna miss you. He retiring out the business, my man Los. Buy EBC. Me personally, I use a couple of different things. I've narrowed it down to 1 or 2. But buy all the soaps they have in the market. Try them all out. Whatever they have, F9s, the Snotminades, everything from all the vendors. Or just buy them all, try them all out, and see what works best for you. That's what's going to get you to the next level with a 4 gallon a minute. Your chemicals, your process, your systems, your techniques, your knowledge, the different accessories you have for your guns and your wands, all of that, and you can have a pressure washing business and people will never even know you had a 4 gallon a minute. The only way people will know you have a 4 gallon a minute is how long it's taking you. That's it. Other than that, your quality of work, you can perform quality work like someone with an 8 gallon a minute humongous ridiculous trailer, and you could just have a 4 gallon a minute on a 5x8 trailer. It's possible. One thing good about the 4 gallon a minute too, you can hook up to most houses. Most houses, at least here in Georgia, you don't need a buffer tank for a 4 gallon a minute. Just get little accessories to be able to shut the water on and off at the pressure washer instead of having to keep going back to the house to shut the water on and off. Just it's all about just getting little accessories and things like that for your machine. All right, I'm 10 minutes in. All right, guys, once again, this is Ty with High Power Pressure Wash out of Atlanta, Georgia.